Hi, I'm Poppy, the toy train nut, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and my toy trains and how I got into it. When I was a little tiny kid, back in Manayunk, which is a part of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And in Manayunk, there's a railroad runs through there, the Pennsylvania Railroad and the Reading Railroad. Anyway, as a little kid, I could hear the trains, and I didn't have to go far to see them or watch them, and they fascinated me. I just loved them. But the funny thing was, while they would make a lot of noise and blow whistles and hiss steam, I was horrified of the vacuum cleaner. That scared the heck out of me. So, how come trains didn't and it did, I don't know. Anyway, I outgrew the fear of the vacuum cleaner and continued my love affair with trains and toy trains. And I really got excited when I was a little kid and went into Philadelphia for the Thanksgiving Day parade. My mother took my two brothers and I to see that, and at the end of the parade, Santa Claus climbed up the ladder into the big Gimbel's department store. And the next day we went back and went into the store up to the Toyland, which was probably on the 4th floor. And when I walked in, it was like going into another world. It was magic. And it was lights and toys and dolls and wagons, and when I got in there, there was a room with just trains, toy trains, and it was like walking into heaven. And already liking trains, I was sold on the idea of toy trains. Although at the time we had no money and I had no electric toy trains. I just had tiny little ones that I could push around on the floor. Anyway, my uncle, he had a set of toy trains, and this was during World War II. Anyway, he left to go off in the Army and left his toy trains at home. And I was probably 5 or 6 years old. And these trains were in the care of my grandmother, whom at the time we were living with. So I managed to talk her into letting me get my uncle's toy trains. And while I couldn't hook them up electrically to run them, I could put track down and just push them, which I had done for a couple of years with my little tiny trains. The problem was playing with them as a 5 or 6 year old with no adult guidance. Eventually I broke my uncle's trains while he was going away in the Army. So later on, when I was about 9 or 10, my mother bought our own set of trains. And it was a little set of freight train with a steam locomotive, which I still have to this day. And that would have been at least, 75 years ago or so. Anyway, I kept those trains, and that was all I had for years and years. I went off, finished school, went in the Army, still had no more trains. But I didn't forget them. And when I eventually met my wife, Mary Lou, and we got married, and little by little, I started buying electric trains. Because now I had some money, her money. Anyway, one thing led to another, and this was, we've been married over 50 years now. So I've been collecting the trains I now have off and on for at least 50 years. And where we lived back in Maryland, I had a couple of train setups there in the house we had. And after we moved and came out here to Colorado and bought this house, I waited and waited. I used to put some trains up every Christmas in the living room. But then I decided, I got all these trains, they're sitting in boxes. I'm getting too old. I should get them out and let people see them, play with them, enjoy them. And so I eventually built the big set in the room behind me, which is the master bedroom. And again, thanks to my loving wife, Mary, she's okay with it. So that started it, and I got standard gauge trains in there, and I just finished putting track and a layout in the middle bedroom. But in spite of the trains taking over both rooms, I managed to somehow still have sofas in and amongst those trains that can be opened and used as full-size beds. So the rooms are double function. They house my trains and everyone else can see them, and yet if company comes, they still have a place to sleep. So hopefully those that come and see them enjoy them, and enjoy them as much as I do. So that's basically my, from beginning to end, my story with toy trains. And I suppose the main reason that I like toys so much, not just trains, but cars, trucks, airplanes, boats, you name it. The reason is it's an escape. It's a fun-filled, tiny little world that I built that I can go and have fun with and get away from the realities of the real crazy world. To our little story, I'd like to say, give you an idea of how I built these train platforms. They're built out of common lumber, 2x4s, plywood, and everything is either screwed or bolted together so it can be easily dismantled. Nothing is nailed or glued, and nothing is affixed to the house structure itself, to the walls, the floor, or anything else. It can be taken down, dismantled, if someone ever sells the house and doesn't want it. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I could move it into my old retirement home when somebody puts me away. So, and then old they can enjoy it. But wherever I go, I'm going with Mary. So it's been fun talking to you and letting you see my toy trains and a little bit about myself and how I got into it. So have a good day.